Welcome to Momentum, the sports show where we break down all of the biggest issues facing women's sports, brought to you by Mecca Empower. I'm your host, Kat Sasso, and each week I will be joined by athletes, experts, and trailblazers as we dive deep into the world of women's sports. With the Australian Grand Prix only days away, I have got the best people in the land of motorsport in Australia. They have the best motorsports podcast in the country. It is Patricia, Valeri, Mellior, and Elle from Paddock43. Welcome.
Is
wow,
very
I
well
sound
said.
so basic.
Patty's got like 4 names.
I mean, there's actually a 5th name in there as well,
is a
but I
5th
said
name.
we can keep that one out.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, guys. I'm so excited. F1 time is truly the craziest time ever, but also the most exciting time because the girls just get to hang out.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we did last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where our friendship
That's
struck.
actually where we met.
Yeah.
We
It
met
was hanging out.
at
Yeah.
Glamour on the Grid
Yeah,
last
Like
year.
I'm on the grid. But we knew each other virtually, and then we were like, wait a
Yeah.
second. Hello.
We're
let's
best
all be
friends.
best friends.
And
We
it's just been such a pleasure to be your friend. Anyway.
It's pleasure treasure. It's
Yeah.
pleasure
I love
treasure to
this.
have
I
you.
love this podcast because I get to just like have all my friends on it, and because all my friends are awesome. Anyway, we're gonna jump straight into it. So you guys are obviously massive motorsport heads, but I want to know where your kind of journey into motorsport started.
I guess I'll start. I grew up watching F1 my whole life. My dad's Italian, so unfortunately, I will say that I am a Ferrari fan. And then my mum always took us to the AusGP. So growing up, loved it. Used to stay up late watching the races, and then I guess I don't know if we can talk about the inception of Paddock43. Maybe
That's
you
coming.
go, and then we will talk about that.
Yeah. Story tale as old times, whatever that word is. That phrase.
Tale as old as
Tale
time.
as old as time.
Thank you. That's the one. It was Dad that introduced me, just like so many other girls that are into the sport today. I used to go around with him. It was, a very Victorian thing to do. And it was a time when you could just walk into the paddock. Always loved it, loved the business side of things. And I actually went and worked for the AusGP for a little bit. And I realised I don't want to work on the corporation side of things. And so just been following the sport ever since. I love it.
So talk to me about where Paddock43 started.
Yeah, so it was kind of a gap that I felt in the market. And like I just said, I didn't want to work at the AusGP. I knew I wanted to be involved in the sport somehow, and I thought we've got to do something here, especially that's female owned. There wasn't many female run podcasts in the F1, and now there's so many. And so I reached out to Pat. We knew each other through a mutual friend, and we happened to be at a dinner, and I said, do you want to come over and watch the Monaco Grand Prix with me? And we'd never hung out. I
No,
actually don't think.
we just kind of knew each other on the surface.
Yeah. And I'd
And
spoken.
it's so weird now because you're literally like a sister.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
I've seen a lot. And then at the time as well, we had our friend Amy. She was also on the podcast. So I'd asked her to come on because she loves the sport so much. And yeah, from there, the 3 of us just got going. We thought, this is going to happen right now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So
Yeah.
I think it was like 2 weeks later, we recorded our first episode.
Yeah, I think we specifically were like, okay, we need to lock in a date to do a shoot just to get some promo stuff out there, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So at what point did you kind of look at the motorsport space and think, oh, this isn't just a hobby, this is something that I actually really want to be involved in. I want to work in it.
For me, it was probably early last year in the AusGP last year where things really took off for Paddock43. I mean, they say most podcasts don't go past the 18-month mark, and we were well past that. And seeing the reception that we were receiving at the Grand Prix and even international audiences going, hey, we recognise you, I think that was a really pivotal moment there. For me as well, that is also when I started working in automotive more closely, writing reviews and attending a lot of media car launches as well. So it really sort of became a part of my life just very naturally. Had been a long process getting to, contribute with places like a car expert. Lots of auditions that you have to go through, but here I am now, and, Pat's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I think, we started off kind of as a hobby. We both had full-time jobs, and the world does work in funny ways. I mean, my story is a little bit different to yours in the sense that I felt pregnant, and then I just continued doing Paddock, and Elle and I were like, hold on a sec, there's something here for this to be a full-time thing. And yeah, same thing last year at AusGP. It was huge in the best possible way. And that feeling of finding something, I mean, I have had a very varied career, corporate career, and I always felt a little bit lost. and then finally figuring out hold on a sec, this is what I love. And there was, like Elle said, there was a gap in the market. And that feeling as well of, it was actually last year at one of the, it was an event after AusGP, like on the Sunday. And we were speaking to someone, a man, and he kind of looked at us initially to try to have a conversation with us about what had happened in the race, and sort of realized, oh, they know what they're talking about. And that moment of like, yes, we know a lot. We know a lot, and we have a lot of knowledge to share. And it's that, that feeling of like, I have so much wisdom and information to give to the world. And it's a great feeling.
Yeah, well, even for me, you guys are very much my turning point and my source of information for a lot of things, especially not just motorsport related, but also automotive in general. You guys are so well versed in that space too. How have you found since the inception of Paddock43 that your kind of place in the automotive industry has also grown with that?
Quite big, I would say. I mean, since the inception of Paddock43, I was, I've been asked to be on women in automotive panels as well. We've been heavily involved with that. So there's been lots of things that have involved the automotive world from a media perspective. For me now as well, I write about cars, as I mentioned before. So I get sent cars and I get told to ask to write about it. And that's been quite big, as there's not a lot of females doing that for a lot of these big publications. It's quite a different area. So it has been a different role. I am loving it. It's, to call that work and incorporate my other work, which is, photography and marketing, it feels pretty damn good. I was going to say blessing, but I also hate when I say blessing.
But it goes hand in hand.
It goes hand in hand, and it's been amazing combining it and also having people out there recognize that as well. A company that I work at the moment and contribute is Car Expert, and they have so many females coming up in their offices and taking charge as well in massive leadership roles. So to have that, and when I first was there, it was more male-based, is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think that, Elle and I both have always been big petrol heads, growing up around that. And I think as well, like being in the F1 world and the automotive world, obviously it's very connected. And so again, I know you don't like the word blessing, but it is a blessing that this thing that we love kind of goes hand in hand with this other thing that we love. And I guess my journey is a little bit different if we say the personal journey in the automotive world. It's a little bit different because as much as I love cars, I mean, I did teach Kat how to drive a manual car.
Yes, she did. It was rough.
Do you reckon you could pull it off right now?
Nah, no chance. No chance. I do actually really want to learn though, I will say.
Yeah.
Like it was really fun.
You didn't learn with me?
It was just, I did learn a bit. But
I
like,
was just thinking.
I genuinely think that I am so bad at it that I need a couple more lessons.
No, it takes practice. I mean, I think because I learned on a manual car, it's just second nature. Yeah. But I think it's easier to learn manual rather than learn it automatic and then swap to manual. But that is a different story. But I do think as well, because obviously I am a mum now, I have found a bit of a gap in that space of automotive and, how do I say this, being a mum in the automotive world and sort of having my flair and my take of fun, fast automotive content, but also adapting that to that mum side of it. So yeah, I guess in a roundabout way, we have Paddock43 together and we have our Formula One podcast, but we have our little injections of automotive on the side.
Yeah. What has the reception been like for you two to be two women in such a heavily male-dominated industry, like heavily? What's it been like what's your audience reception been like? What have other women been saying to you guys about being pretty much trailblazers in that space?
I'm pretty damn good actually. It's from the get-go. We've had so much support from males and females. I get very excited when we're talking to a brand about doing something and they ask our audience split. And to say we are strongly 50-50 is pretty cool. We never set out to be a female audience podcast. Yeah. We wanted to be for everyone. We probably skew more to the lifestyle bits, and we do talk about gossip and rumours, and that's just because it's interesting to us. But it's been really good. But that being said, there's always negative things. There's always going to be a troll, because when there's an up, there's going to be a down, right? It's just the way the world works. But we've been pretty lucky. I mean, Pat's probably the one that's experienced it the most.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my
Yeah.
follow-up questions.
Yeah.
What's it been like with the negative side of it and the pushback from certain people in the industry? And not necessarily just the industry, like I'm talking fans and just random people in general.
I mean, I'll start off kind of with the positive and touching on what Elle said, that we have been very blessed when you think about it, and we have had a lot of fantastic, I mean, obviously we've had incredible women supporting us, and that's always the way. And we have had a lot of really supportive men on our side as well, which is great. But yes, we have definitely had our fair share of trolling, and it is one of those things that you tend to focus, you know, from every 50 great comments, there could be one bad comment, and you look at that. And I think that's the biggest thing in this industry, is you need to make sure that you're not focusing on that, and that you're not really putting too much of your energy into that, because there's just no point. And in the end, you just think, well, that person has an issue. And yeah, kind of what Elle touched on, when was it? It would have been around Feb last year. We came across this really awful video of a man, what would I say? Old school motorsport fan.
Yeah, and he was degrading.
He was incredibly degrading. And, you know, I was pregnant, and I'm just going to say it. I mean, he said something about, clearly this person knows how to use their vagina. And I think, you know, he obviously said some awful things about you, and it didn't maybe strike you as, obviously you saw it was bad, but it didn't hit you as much. But at that point I was like, hold on a sec, this is not okay. And unfortunately women cop so much crap.
Yeah.
And I just think that, I mean, anytime, but especially the fact when I was pregnant, and I just think that is such a sacred and special time. And
It's also a very vulnerable time too.
It is so vulnerable. And granted that I wasn't pregnant when I saw that video, but I was very affected by it. And I remember we was, you know, speaking about putting out a statement, and I was like, I just need a couple of days, because I don't know how to respond to this calmly, because my emotions, I was like so upset, and then I was so angry, and I was so upset, and I just thought I need to just compose myself and think this through. Look, in the end, it was interesting, because he then turned around and apologized to us and said, oh no, I didn't mean any harm by this, and I just like to, you know, you don't understand my humor. And even someone else actually came forward and said, you don't understand his humor. And I was like, I'm sorry, but there is just no excuse. Like, absolutely
not at all.
He
no
sends and he's
excuse.
always trying to help the podcast, actually.
He goes, oh, by the way, he'll message us about things.
He'll give us tips and tricks on YouTube.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? Because I think a lot of women in the world of just sport in general, and it's a very recurring theme with women in sport, whether they're athletes or whether they are media personalities or whatever they might be, people experience that. And I think it's really important to call it out when you see it and explain the way that it's made you feel, because I think it's very easy to just go, you know what, I'm going to ignore this. And realistically, with certain things, you can ignore them and just whatever, it's not important. This person clearly has an issue and it's not my problem. But when it comes to things like that, I think it's very important to call it out, because a lot of the time these people don't get called out, and they think that everything that they put on the internet is very, no one's going to see that. No one knows who it is. No one knows who I am. So then when you do call them out, they get embarrassed. They're like, oh no, you know, they've called me out publicly. People can see me. And I guess it kind of feeds into that whole cancel culture, which is a whole different conversation that we could talk about for years and years and years. But I think it's not necessarily cancel culture when you're calling someone out for poor behavior. Because
they need to learn.
The end of, exactly right. At the end of the day, you know, it's women as well, but men need to learn that you can't be commenting on someone's body, on someone's personal life, and think that there's going to be no response or no consequence to that. So I think the fact that he's trying to now be nice to you and all those things, okay, that's great. And, you know, he apologized and whatever, but realistically, it just shouldn't have happened in the first place.
No.
So
it's like they need to be educated.
Yeah,
because
exactly
unfortunately, I don't know what's gone on there, but there is an education piece of just being a decent human.
There is also, like, beyond that one awful video, like, we do get comments all the time as well. And I've got a pretty thick skin personally, so I just laugh at that stuff most of the time, because I've been around it for too long. And so I just post it on Instagram, and I expose them, and it's great because it gets your engagement up. And I'm like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
This is exact. I'm playing the social media game. Like, you know, you want to comment that privately, then I'm going to publicly expose you.
And people freak out,
Yeah.
don't they? People
Yeah.
panic when you expose
Yeah.
them publicly because it's like, well, the DMs are a very insane place for a lot of people, especially when you're putting yourself out there on the internet and whatever you're in whatever way, shape or form, right? But people think that because they're privately messaging you and they're not leaving these comments in a public space, that no one else is going to see them. And it's like, no, people actually do see these things and people are affected by them every day.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great thing. I love exposing when people, you know, put weird
It's
stuff
funny.
in my messages or
Call
in my
them out.
comments. We've had a couple times on this show, like we've had a few weird comments as well about certain things, and it's like, well, that's actually not okay. And we aren't fostering a space where we allow that kind of commentary or that kind of behavior, whatever it might be, whether it's sexism, whether it's racism, whatever it might be. That's not what we want here, and it's important to call it out or just block it out entirely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why it's also been so positive for Paddock43 that we've had such a strong male support from us. I mean, some of the media opportunities have all come from males in the media industry, putting us forward for it, pushing us forward and having that. That being said, obviously there's a brand out there that I was up for a presenting gig, big automotive one, at the F1, and they said, oh, we think we would prefer a male. We usually use males. And they told me that. And I was like, did you even need to tell me that?
That's a very archaic perspective, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was
How
like,
did you feel about that?
Well, to be honest, I was like, oh, thank God. I didn't know how I was going to make that
I'm
work.
so busy.
I was like, I would love to do this, but
also,
I don't. I
You've
can't
done
be-
me a favour, actually.
But I also think that, I mean, if someone responds that, you just think, well, I obviously don't want to work for a brand that has that logic.
Yeah, exactly.
If you work and think that way, then I don't align with you.
It was just bizarre. I was just like, the amount of support that we have received
Yeah.
for Paddock43 and how it's gone in the last 3 years and the opportunities that have arisen that have come from so many men. And then to get that comment still in the automotive industry when I work on that on the flip side of things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's bizarre.
Well, looking towards the motorsport side of things, we do often talk about women, female drivers, but there are so many women in different spaces. There's engineers, strategists, media personalities, executives. What do you think has contributed to this shift in the industry over the last few years?
Do you want to go? I mean, I could talk about that for ages.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think a lot of things play a part, but I think the biggest thing, and this is across so many different areas, is that whole, if you can see it, you can be it. And I think that nowadays in the next couple of years, we're going to definitely start to see a lot more females coming into these spaces. And I think as well, when, even specifically when we see like certain teams that highlight and speak about women doing incredible things, even this platform that you have, it is amazing because you are putting emphasis on women, showing the amazing things that they do. And if people see that, if they hear that, then they can feel like they can also be in that space. I mean, I always think about, Joanne Ciconti and Evan Angostiadis. We had both of them in the F1 Academy last season. And I mean, they wouldn't have really grown up seeing any female F1 drivers. Back in the day, I think like 50 years ago, there were a couple of female F1 drivers. But when was the last time we had a female F1 driver? It's not happening. I mean, hopefully in the next 10 years, 7 to 10 years, there will be an female F1 driver. And then hopefully we kind of see the ripple effect of that. But yeah, I think you need to see it to believe it.
You definitely need to see it to believe it. I think that's one of the big things as well. Yeah. But it's also really interesting that I think a lot of it comes from social media as well.
Sure.
And that's been the big change because that's where you see it. But now kids are not seeing it. They've been banned.
Yeah.
So
What
they've got to be
different
in
ways, yeah, what different ways aside from social media do you think are ways that, these positions can kind of be put out to kids and allow them to kind of see what they can do?
It depends on how they're accessing information.
Yeah.
I mean, so much of that is on the internet today. It depends on what their parents are showcasing to them. I think there's a huge responsibility in that, showing your children what is out there in the world. I think it's a real shame that things like STEM on TikTok have been banned. I think about fishing all the time. It's such a beautiful outdoor sport. It's very relaxing for kids that might need that and found fishing because they needed it. and they found it through TikTok, I think that's a real shame. I think there's opportunities that are missed for talking about engineering, like that is a career.
Yeah.
And then they're at that pivotal point, if it's banned until your age of 16, you might be 14 and starting to pick subjects at school.
Can I just add on to that though?
course.
Just something that I do think if we are taking the social media ban specifically in Australia into account, I do think the one good thing, and specifically within F1 is obviously Sky Sports, they do majority of the coverage, and they are very good at having a mix of male and female presenters, if we're looking specifically at presenters. And we've got Naomi Sheaf, she's a powerhouse. There's Natalie Pickham. Like, there's so many fantastic people in that world, and they are there's also some questionable people, but they are very great at highlighting that. And I think even, if we're looking specifically at F1 and the coverage that we see on a race weekend, sometimes, we see these moments where we see people highlighted. I was going to say as well, and now it's slipped my mind, and that's okay. I'll leave it at that.
That's fine. Well, I actually do want to talk to you guys about the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the biggest sporting events in the calendar for Australia. What is it for you guys that makes it so special?
Home race.
Yeah.
Home race. Yeah.
We're both Melbourne
The
girls.
only answer.
I mean, I live 5 minutes away from the track.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't now because I'm injured, but I would run around that track weekly.
Yeah.
And watching that get built 5 minutes down the road, that doesn't happen. That every other race is out of town. There's no race like it. Monaco's probably the only one that's actually in town. Everywhere else is
Well, Singapore.
out. And
Singapore, actually.
Yeah.
Singapore's a great race too.
Yeah.
What, in short, because we could obviously, again, this could be a complete other episode, what is it that you're most looking forward to for this F1 season and also for the race specifically?
Gosh, obviously we know the 2026 regulation change.
Yeah.
I think we are so blessed that we are the first race. It's kind of a blessing and a curse because we're also like, oh my goodness, suddenly it's crazy mode and we have so much to organise and so much is happening. But we are so lucky that this is probably one of the biggest changes we've seen in F1 season, and we are the first ones that get to witness it in person. Like, that is a huge blessing and responsibility because we are obviously creating content around that. But I honestly cannot wait to just feel the energy because the energy, obviously we all know, we feel it, and the collective energy of everything.
It's so much
even when I'm
like
like
the
the smells,
everything. I remember
fuel, grass, beer,
dirt.
It's amazing. And also I remember every year that I've gone, up until obviously last year when they banned people from running on the track, I used to look for little pieces of rubber.
And I used to do that as a child.
Pieces of rubber that I've got at home.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's just such an exciting time. I think it's not lost on me though that we're very lucky that we've been able to go, especially I'm from Melbourne. I now live in Sydney. Sad. I'm joking.
It's great.
Being a Melbourne native, I think it's not lost on me how lucky we are to have a race in our home city, considering that there are so many countries around the world that don't get a race and so many cities in Australia that don't get a race either. I think I know there's lots of cities in the country that would argue that they'd be a better place for it, but I just don't think there's a better place than Albert Park.
Absolutely.
Well, all the other F1 races are so close to each other, right?
Yeah.
Like Europe, easy, pop on a plane, 2 hours, you can go to the other F1
Even
race.
Asia.
Yeah.
We get to catch up with our international friends once a year.
Yeah.
That's what I'm most excited about. I can't wait to watch Cadillac.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Valeri Bottas
very
stan.
exciting.
I'm just like, come on, I want this. But I'm so excited to see the people that I speak to online all the time that I get to see once a year because they're coming to Australia.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting. You're like, hi friends.
And
we're back
especially
together.
it's nice when they're like, where do you think we should go for dinner? Where do you think we should
Yeah.
do this? Like, we will tell you.
Yeah, I feel like as well, it's new people come every year and it's just so nice because you get to kind of meet so many different people and make so many new friends through that. And I think going back to the whole social media thing and whatever we spoke about before, I do feel like the whole Drive to Survive, Formula One Academy on Netflix and all those things have really opened up space for women just to become friends in this space.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a really, really great space to be in because it's not only challenging but at the same time, it's so wholesome and you make new friends. And every year on year, I have made so many new friends and so many great friends. And I think it's just a fantastic space to be in as a woman because there's so much potential. There's so much potential for growth as a fan, but also as a professional like you guys.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very exciting time, but I do want to know what your predictions are for the race.
For AusGP?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I think that I thought maybe George Russell, another win for George Russell. Yeah, I think George. I think George, and look, potentially, because I have said this for a long time, that I think Mercedes will do really well this year with the hybrid engine. I think a Kimi Antonelli could even be a 3, like a 1-3, and then a 2. Look, it's gosh,
It's a tough
Say
one.
what
isn't
you
it?
want. I know what you want to say.
look. Obviously,
No
I would,
filter.
I want I would love a Ferrari win.
She said it. She jinxed it.
Sorry, everyone, I jinxed it.
If you're wondering why Ferrari is not on the podium, it's because of Pat.
But you know what? I actually also think, like, I mean, they
You do
didn't
hope
do
that it's a
great
bit
in
of a
that
better
bus.
year this year.
Yeah, well, they didn't do great in that Barcelona shakedown, but like a Carlos 2 would be fantastic because Williams.
God bless.
Yeah,
God bless. I'm intrigued to see how Red Bull fare this season.
yeah.
I'm very, very
I
excited.
just don't think we'll know. I think that's going to be a huge
gonna be
mixed grid
interesting.
in Australia.
Especially now with the new engine
Yeah.
and everything. I think it's just going to be so exciting. It's going to be such an amazing race, but also an incredible season.
Oh, it's gonna
Yeah,
be.
no one knows how it's going to turn out, and Australia will be that telltale sign that this is what's happening with these power units and the 50-50.
100%.
And every driver is
And the new
complaining.
flap.
Yeah. I
There's a
mean,
new
yeah,
flap.
everyone's got a
Yes.
different wing. I mean, Ferraris does a 360 rotation.
It's incredible the things that they have come up with and the things that
Yeah.
they do. And a lot of women have contributed to all of that,
Yes.
which is awesome. Give me your podium for the race. If you
Okay,
can give
I'll
me
say
one.
George.
yeah,
George, Carlos, Kimi.
I've got no idea. I think we're not going to know anything for all we know.
It's hard, isn't it? Especially going
You
into
want
a
a
season with so
Valtteri?
many
For all we know,
changes.
Lance Stroll could be number 1. Who knows? Aston Martin might be killing the game with their hybrid unit. We don't know. We don't know. We can go off testing, but testing is always a mixed bag. You can't get anything off
true.
testing. That is for the teams themselves to understand how the car is working on track.
And first race of the season as well is the same.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it'll be, look, sadly, I don't think it's going to be an Oscar Piastri moment. I think home race curse and also new car will be hard. But
You never know.
You never know. Fingers crossed.
You never know.
yeah, you never know. I would love it too.
Last
for
year
him.
wasn't.
Gosh,
He just got a bit
Well,
unlucky
he's got
last year.
his grandstand now.
Yes,
Yeah.
very
Look,
exciting.
Do you know, I was thinking though, because obviously last year Lando Norris had his grandstand at Silverstone and he won.
It could
So
be.
it
Could be a
could
sign.
be.
It could be.
An Oscar would be fantastic.
I'm
but-
going to just go with what I want to happen. And I
Okay.
think I'm going to try and be a bit realistic here. I'm going to go Max, Lewis, and Oscar. 1, 2, 3.
That's a lovely
Lewis.
podium.
That's what I want. I would
Lewis.
love it if Oscar would win it, but like let's be a little bit realistic here. Max is my
You
guy
don't
now.
think the Kardashian curse is going to get
You know what? I don't know. Let's see. I've spoken about it on my socials, so let's see. Anyway, let's move on. This season on Momentum, we are building our very own playbook to success. So I want you guys to give me a very quick piece of advice for anyone out there who might be wanting to get into motorsport or into automotive or even just in general, just into sports. What would be your one holy grail piece of advice?
Okay, mine's a bit long, but I think that, and this is kind of my key piece of advice, especially to younger people or not even anyone really. I think that you need to, if you're not sure about what you're doing or you don't feel like you're in the right place, try everything within reason if you can. Try as many things as you can and do not be afraid to put yourself out there because this is your life and you need to do what makes you happy, again within reason, and you need to just go for things because I think the biggest thing is you don't want to live with regret. You want to be able to say, yes, I did that, yes, I tried that, and maybe that didn't work or that didn't work for me or that failed, but give it a go and you will figure it out along the way. But just, say yes, be a yes person and try the thing.
Within reason.
Within reason.
I, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I'm 32 and I have 5 different businesses essentially. And I've never been happier. I'm absolutely slammed 24/7, and I've got a lot of different business partners coming at me asking for different things, and I'm like, hi,
I'm just a girl.
but in saying that, I think it's possible for anyone to do what they want. And if you are wanting to move into your own career in some different pathway, it could be motorsport, could be automotive, which is very different to motorsport, or it could just be, you know, going into maths somewhere or something like that.
Yeah.
Set 20 minutes aside every day and just do something for it that will move the dial. And then I now take that into my everyday work life as well. If I've got a task, I put a timer on, 20 minutes, smash out, get it done, and guarantee that what you thought might take 2-3 hours will take you 20 minutes.
That's great. I love that. Well, thank you both so much. It has been an absolute pleasure to finally have you on Momentum. And to everyone at home listening, thank you so much for supporting us. It is truly the best thing ever. It doesn't go unnoticed. So if you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and subscribe. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, and of course, anywhere you get your podcasts. And make sure to keep up with us on socials at The Momentum Show. I've been Kat Sasso, and a big thanks to Mecca Empower for helping bring this episode to life. I'll see you next time.
Bye.